What's up, guys? It's Bumpkins. Today is Wednesday, August 3rd. Wednesday means New Comic Book Day. New Comic Book Day means New Comic Book Haul video. As always, I went down to Infinity Flux here in Chattanooga, Tennessee for another big old stack of books and only a couple extra goodies as well. We'll take a look at those in a minute. Real quick, guys, if you are on the Whatnot app and you're looking for a great seller, be sure to check out Infinity Flux Comics, all one word. They'll be linked in the description below. They have 3 shows a week. They just hit 1,400 followers. This past Saturday, several days ago, they took part in Whatnot's official Slabapalooza event, where they were live for, I think, almost 3 hours, sold 50 slabs, had a giveaway with every purchase. It was really cool, and then they've had a couple really good shows since then. So if you're on Whatnot, you're looking for a cool seller who sells cool stuff, be sure to check them out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the books I picked up this week. And guys, I'm going to put a little disclaimer out there, something I don't normally do, but I just feel like I need to say this, that of all the books that I bought this week, or I guess all the ones that I read of the ones that I bought, I didn't like very many of them. Like, it was a, it was a pretty big week for books. Like, it was a pretty big stack. But of these that I read, like, I just feel like it was a big week of comics, but sort of a downer week a little bit. Like, no hate or anything. No, not trying to disparage anybody's hard work on these, but like, I just didn't really enjoy a lot of them. But we'll go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with Edge of Spider-Verse #1. Of course, the Scotty uncover, because that looks so cool. So this is starting a new Spider-Verse event. This book is a little bit different than the other Spider-Verse events in that this book has 4 shorter stories in it, one featuring a Spider-Man from, I can't remember this, from the 1700s. The main story in here features Aranya, and she gets a new suit, and her story was pretty good, but it was also sort of focused on this villain that I think isn't going to end up mattering, so I'm not really sure why they were part of this. I don't know. And then there was a Spider-Rex, like a T-Rex Spider-Man. And then the 4th one was a story featuring Spider-Man Noir. So, I didn't love this. So I love the other 2 Spider-Verse events and a lot of the stuff that Dan Slott did with that. This one was just different though. Like, this one, because the 4 different stories, they do sort of connect, but kind of not, and it didn't really explain what the story was going to be other than a threat is coming and threatening the web of life, and but it didn't really establish anything, like what they're going to be facing, what our heroes are going to be facing. And it sounds like this whole event's going to be that way. Like, each issue is going to be 3 or 4 short stories featuring different Spider-Men. I'm going to keep getting this, though, because this is going to culminate in the new Adjectiveless Spider-Man written by Dan Slott, drawn by Mark Bagley, that's coming out later this year that I'm really excited about. But this book just sort of seemed like it came out of nowhere. Like the previous Spider-Verse events, like there was something like an Amazing Spider-Man or something like that. Like, it was building to it and then, culminated in this big Spider-Verse story. This just showed up out of nowhere, and it's just 4 stories that are barely connected. Some threat that they're going to face, I guess, but we don't know what it is. So it's only the first issue. I'm trying not to judge. It may, play itself out into a very cool story, but I just didn't think it was a very strong start. Next up is Ghost Rider #5. So I love this A cover with Ghost Rider, Hawkeye, and Black Widow, and they're all on air bikes or motorcycles, and they're sort of racing down the road. So in this issue, Johnny Blaze takes part in this this Death Valley race, and like, I want to like this too because there's a whole bunch of like very brief cameos in it, like not even really any speaking parts, but you see a bunch of other heroes and villains at this race, and supposedly the winner of the race gets a wish of theirs granted by the devil or something like that. And there's all these heroes and villains in the race. It very much reminded me of Hanna-Barbera's Wacky Racers, because every hero and villain had their own like themed motorcycle. Like, Kraven was there, and the front of his motorcycle kind of looked like a lion's head, and Doctor Doom was there on a motorcycle, and Rhino was there, and he had like this big bulky rhinoceros looking motorcycle. And there, like I said, not a lot of speaking parts. Like, it was just like in 1 panel or 2 panel where you could like sort of see in the background. But it was kind of silly. Like, as serious and almost scary as this Ghost Rider series has been so far, I've said before that it actually kind of feels like an indie horror anthology book, which has been very cool. This one was just silly. There was no Ghost Rider in it at all. This was probably the first one. I didn't love the first one either because it was all set up and nothing really happened. And I didn't love this one either because there was a lot of things going on, but it just like it just didn't feel like a Ghost Rider book. So this one was pretty weak. Next is Iron Man 22 with this gorgeous Alex Ross A covered, awesome stealth Iron Man armor. I still haven't read this. I'm still super far behind on this whole series. But as long as Alex Ross keeps doing these covers, I'm going to keep buying them. Next is Moon Knight number 14 with this Beyond Amazing variant cover. It's funny because when I was in my LCS on Tuesday, my buddy Andy and I were talking about how we don't really like variant covers that just have nothing to do with the book and have a character on there that has nothing to do with the story. It's not even in the story. I was like, yeah, we were both like, yeah, I don't really like those. I don't like my cover to be completely disjointed from the story. And then I go in today and pick this up. So yeah, Spider-Man's not in the book, but I thought it was cool because it's like the 78, 79 CBS Spider-Man from TV, like, cause he has like the eyes with the little holes in them and web shooter on his wrist. So I couldn't not get that one, but. So this issue was pretty good. This issue was Moon Knight fighting a pair of supervillains on top of a roof. We don't know who the supervillains are. They never really say anything. We don't learn their names. But the point of the story is while he's fighting them, he's having an inner monologue between Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley. And they're all talking about how they had agreed to all work together, and Mark Spector kind of shut them out and is kind of running the show, running Moon Knight's body and leading the mission and things like that. And, they were talking about how that's not what they agreed to. They need to work together because he can't do this alone. And so it was pretty interesting to see this fight between Moon Knight and these two villains, while inside he's having a three-way conversation with his different personalities. I don't really know what this means. I don't really know what the ending of this is going to mean for the books going forward. It wasn't like this big revelation, but this book, and I've said it before, this series so far has been pretty light on focusing on or talking about Moon Knight's dissociative identity disorder. Up until a couple issues ago, like, we hadn't seen any of the other personalities other than Mark Spector. But they are in this book full force, and I'm interested to see what that means for the book going forward. Next is New Fantastic Four number 3. So I didn't read this one yet because I haven't been loving this series so far. The first 2 issues I thought were just very average. I'm pretty much just buying the book because I love these 4 characters together. But even when I sat down to read all these other ones, I just couldn't bring myself to read this one right now because I had so much other stuff to read and I just kind of didn't care. So I will read it at some point, but I hope it gets better than the first 2 issues. And last for Marvel is Spider-Man 2099 Exodus number 5. So this one features X-Men 2099. So this whole series has basically been a showcase for other 2099 heroes, and Spider-Man is just like the connective tissue between them. Spider-Man has barely been in any of these issues. It is all building towards a singular finale, but each issue is focused on somebody different. Most of the issues so far, I think most of the issues have focused on a brand new 2099 hero that we haven't seen before. But we have seen the X-Men 2099 before. Now, I haven't read this one yet because I'm 1 issue behind. I haven't read issue number 4 yet. So I don't know if like that. Well, I don't know. Like, I read X-Men 2099 in the 90s. I don't remember a lot about it. X-Man is here, so he wasn't part of it before. I don't know if any of these characters are from the original X-Men 2099. I kind of think they're not, or if they are, they have different designs. But I will be interested to see. I haven't been loving this series either because it hasn't focused on Spider-Man 2099 at all, and I really want to read that. But I wanted to keep going with this because I want to see how it all ends. I want to say this is the last one, and then it all ends with an Omega issue. Or there might be a number 6. I think this is it, and then an Omega. But yeah, we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. As for DC, I split my DC books into 2 separate stacks here. The first one is my regular DC books that I read all the time. So this is Batman number 126. This is the cool Amazing Spider-Man 316 homage variant. I just think this is pretty cool. I love seeing Marvel and DC homage each other's covers. Like, that's really cool. So with issue 125, last issue, is when Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jimenez took over as the new creative team for the book. I love Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil. Like, it's probably the second best Daredevil there's ever been, behind Frank Miller. And then I love Jorge Jimenez's art. So I was really excited for them to come on the book. 125 was kind of a setup, and I was a little bit underwhelmed by it just because not a whole lot happened, but I knew it was a setup for things to come. This is a lot better. Like, this issue is just full action, page after page. Spider-Man? See the Spider-Man homage cover, right? Batman going up against this robotic fellow here named Failsafe. We don't know a lot about him yet. We did see where he came from last issue. I don't want to say anything in case you haven't read it. I'm trying not to spoil. But he is a robot, android, whatever you want to call it, and he fights Batman in this. Batman gets his butt kicked, like all up and down Gotham. He does have some help that comes in, which is really cool to see. And then the ending was very interesting. So the ending, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it, but I recognized what I was seeing on the page. But because I hadn't read the story that came from, the impact was a little bit lost on me. But that's on me, just because I hadn't read where that came from before. So I'm interested to see where this goes. The art on this was fantastic. This was a very action-packed book. And whereas the first issue was kind of this one was really, really good. I really enjoyed this one. Next up is Batman Beyond Neo Year number 5. So I haven't read past the second issue, so I haven't read this one yet. I'm a little bit behind. I don't know if this is the last. This is only a miniseries, so if this isn't the end, then there's only one more left. So I'm not sure if there's 5 or 6 issues. I did enjoy the first 2 issues. I enjoyed Terry McGinnis here having to sort of go old school Batman and take a lot of the tech out of his suit so that he can fight a high-tech villain. But yeah, I don't have anything else to say. I just hope that the story is as good as the first 2 issues. And then the last one out of the first stack of DC books here is Dark Crisis number 3, the awesome Dan Mora Red Canary design variant. So I'm going to say this for the last time, that I had not intended on getting any of the Dark Crisis books because this whole event feels so disjointed from everything else that's going on in the DC universe. But then my buddy Andy made it sound pretty good. He was sort of talking it up after issue 1, and I thought, well, maybe I will give it a shot. I had also seen this in the solicit, so even if I hadn't gotten all the other Dark Crisis books, I wanted this because I love this cover. But then Andy talked me into it, and it ended up... the first issue was very underwhelming, but the second issue was really good, and I got the Superman tie-in, which was pretty decent. The Young Justice one is okay, but then this one came out. This one, guys, is awesome. Like, I really like this, and like I feel like I should... Like, I feel bad because I like Dark Crisis, because I feel like I'm not supposed to like it because it's yet another Crisis event that, you know, DC does these things all the time, and I feel like I'm supposed to be like, I don't want another one of those. But guys, this is good. Like, I really like this. This was action-packed. The art was fantastic. We got some really good John Kent as Superman moments. So in John Kent's own book, he seems very unsure of himself and doesn't have a lot of confidence in himself. That's not the case here. John Kent bows up to Black Adam, eyes glowing red, tells him to stand down. That's fantastic. We get a really cool interaction between John and Damian. We get Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I tell you what, we don't get this character. There's one single panel. I swear if Key Collector or anything else starts touting this as the first appearance of Red Canary, don't listen. You want to know what it is? We get one panel of Red Canary's eye as she's putting on her mask. And that's it. And that's not really a spoiler because it doesn't have any effect on the story whatsoever. So if you want the cover, fine. Please don't let anybody, you know, say, oh, first Red Canary, this is going to be a $1 million book. She's not in it. Her eyeball is in it, and that's it. Anyway, this book was great, though. Like, I really want to see what's going to happen. Like, I really want to see what effect this is going to have on the DC Universe. The art's awesome. We get the return of another bunch of heroes that I won't say anything else about, but I'm really excited about that. So I wasn't going to buy this, and again, I'm not going to say that anymore because at this point I'm fully on board with Dark Crisis, and I'm just going to get them all. Okay, so my bad. I had one more book. So this is the last book in my first stack of DC books. So this is Flashpoint Beyond number 4. This miniseries, this is 4 of 6. This miniseries confuses me. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, the Flashpoint universe is back. We don't know why. Thomas Wayne Batman is back. I don't know why. I don't know if we're supposed to know why. All he's focused on is undoing whatever it is that brought the universe back. But I don't get what it was. And there's a lot of like mumbo jumbo, hyper time meets the omniverse, which creates this energy and blah. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not smart enough to figure this book out. It's written by Jeff Johns, and I will always give him a chance because his run on Green Lantern is what is responsible for me reading DC Comics on a regular basis. I did that back in 2008. Before then, I just read piecemeal DC here and there. I was more of a Marvel guy. His Green Lantern brought me into DC Comics full time. So I will always read something that his name is on, but this is, I can't even tell you what the book's about what this issue is about, because I just don't get it. I don't understand. The Clockwork Killer, we find out who the Clockwork Killer is, but I don't really remember who the Clockwork Killer is supposed to be and why it even matters, and the reveal of who it is doesn't make sense, and two more issues of this, and then I'll be glad it's over. Alright, so the second half of my DC books are books that I completely did not intend to buy, and I'm probably not even going to read them because I just got them for the cover, which I hate doing because these things just sit in a box. I didn't intend on getting these things, but they're sitting there on the shelf or on the spinner rack, and I just couldn't not. So the first one I got is DC Mech #1. This came out last week, I think, but this is the awesome Dan Mora design cover, and it's not an incentive or anything. They had one left. Batman in some kind of like cool suit of armor and a big mech back here. I don't really care about the story. Like, I might read this on DC Universe Infinite, but I just love that cover. I love Dan Mora. I love giant mechs. I love Batman. So I just had to get this. I don't know. Next up is one that I did not intend on getting because this is the second print and I got the first print, but this is Batman Superman World's Finest #4, second print, with this awesome colored in cover. So I got the cover for the first print of issue 4 that's black and white. It's this cover, but it's all black and white because I guess they don't want to reveal the green because that sort of reveals a little bit about this character right here. But it's more Dan Mora art. I love this design. The colors are great. There was several of them sitting on the shelf, and I thought, dadgummit, because I'd even forgotten about it. But then when I saw them on the shelf, I was like, shoot, I'm going to have to get that, aren't I? And yeah, I did, and here it is. And my last DC book that I did not intend to buy, but I did because of the cover. This is a book I don't even read, but this is Harley Quinn #18. I actually just the other day read the #1 issue to this run because I had watched a few episodes of the Harley Quinn animated series, and I love that show, and I was in a Harley Quinn kick, and I read that issue, and then, so this is that same series. I might pop this open and read it because I think this is the first issue of like a new weekly story arc, but I just couldn't not get that cover, like with Harley and Batman and Harley Quinn, and that just looks awesome. I couldn't say no. As for Image and the other indies, I've got a few books here, and most of these I didn't love either. It's just, like I said, it's just a really rough week for comics, at least in my opinion. But the first one is The Closet #3, so written by James Tynion, and this is the last of this 3-issue miniseries. And this one continues to be interesting, but just weird. And I had a theory about this book, and now that I've read the end of it, I don't know if I was right or not. Like, I don't know. So this, this is still the father and son traveling to Portland where they're going to start their new life. The wife/mother is already there, starting her new job, and most of this book is just the father, kind of like last issue when the father talked to the friend, or was it the brother or brother-in-law? I think it was friend. But in this one, the father just talks to like some random stranger about the problems that he and his wife are having, and also the problems that his son is having with seeing this monster in the closet. The ending was creepy, but very like, I don't want to say too. I don't want to ruin anything. Like, if you're reading this, if you've read the first 2 issues, you definitely want to read this one. But this was just weird. Like, there was, like, it almost wasn't really about anything. Like, nothing was answered, and I don't know. So it was fine, but I think 3 issues is about all it needed. Next up is The Dead Lucky #1. I didn't love this one either. This is about a woman who was a soldier or a veteran in the military, and I guess she seems to be suffering from some kind of PTSD. This also seems like it may be set in the near future, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the city that she's in is expanding itself to be more technology focused, because it seems the city seems a little bit futuristic. I don't know if the rest of the country and the world is that way, but there is a private security force that has moved into the city to protect it from this gang, but we don't get a lot of information about either of those organizations. There's the woman in here pilots a mech for some reason, but we don't know why. And she's I don't know if she's fighting the gang or the security team. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just, I didn't get it. Like, it was just, there wasn't a lot there, and I don't know, guys. I can't even really talk about it. I didn't love this one. Definitely check it out if you think it looks cool or seems interesting, but it just wasn't for me. Next up is Golden Rage #1. So the premise of this one is interesting. So imagine, the movie Battle Royale, or I think was it a manga too? But Battle Royale, where all the kids get dumped on an island and they have to, they have to battle each other until there's only one left standing, right? Well, that's this, but instead of like high school or young kids doing it, it's all old women. And what? Like, why are they there? We don't know. But at the beginning of this book, you do see some of them getting taken out. There is also a younger woman who winds up on the island. And it explains, this isn't me saying this because I don't know a lot about it, but it says in the book that she has early menopause, and that's why she's there. And so she's way younger than all of the other women there. But again, I didn't love this one either because we don't know why they're there. There's no explanation whatsoever. I do understand that I'm sure that all that stuff's going to get explained. So for the time being, I'm going to bow out. I might get it in trade because it's an interesting premise, but it was mostly just talking, like these. So the young woman gets taken in by an older woman who takes her back to like this cave where there are these other two older women living all together, I guess, and they're all hanging out, and it's just a lot of talk, and we don't really know. They get attacked every so often from some other faction, but like there's no explanation really to anything. So yeah, I might trade weight this or I might pick it up and trade, and hopefully there'll be some answers in there. Next is Spawn number 332 with this awesome cover featuring, I don't know who that guy is. I haven't read any Spawn, but the covers are cool, and I've got a giant stack. It grows every week. So this is going to go in the Spawn stack, and I can't wait to find out who this guy is. Next up is Twig number 4. So this one was good. Twig has been great the whole way through. Twig is continuing on his adventure to save the world, basically. He meets a new companion that travels with him and his friend. Is it Sprout? Is that his friend's name? I don't remember. But so there's 3 of them now going on this quest to retrieve these things that is going to help him, save the world, essentially. It's really good. Like, the art's still fantastic. The colors just leap off the page. Like, this is the best visually looking book probably on the stands right now because it's so bright and vibrant and pretty. The ending leaves me very excited for the next issue. I really don't know how Twig's going to do what he needs to do, but I can't wait to find out. And last for the single issues this week is from IDW. It's Godzilla Rivals Batra. So Godzilla versus Batra. I buy these for my son because he loves Godzilla, but he doesn't really read them, so I just kind of end up putting them in a box. But it's cool to have him. He might read them one day. I've got a bunch of Godzilla trades down here. So yeah, I'm just, sort of collecting these as they come out. They don't come out all that often, so when one pops up, I grab it. But the fun doesn't stop there. I got a couple extra goodies as well, starting with the Avengers Epic Collection Kang War. So this is very fitting, especially with what they announced at Comic-Con a couple weekends ago, with the Kang War being one of the big Avengers movies coming in a couple years. So this collects Avengers number 129 through 149 and giant size, or the annuals, 2 through 4. So I don't know that I've read this story or these issues. I did not make it that far, or I have not yet made it that far in my History of Marvel reading, and I've got to resume that at some point. But I just thought I'm really coming to really like the Epic collections. I try to get them when they come out if it's something I don't already have in an omnibus or something. I don't have this collected anywhere, and I thought it would be a great one to get. And then the last of the extra goodies is from Vault. This is the Rush trade paperback, so this collects all 6 issues of the Rush. I did get the first issue when it came out, and thought it was pretty interesting, but knew that I definitely wanted to wait for a trade collection. So this takes place in 1899, the California Gold Rush, but there's a supernatural twist to this too. Like in the northern, it just says to the north, there's something spooky up there, right? And so it's Old West Gold Rush stuff, but also supernatural element. The first issue seemed like there was going to be some really creepy stuff to come, and I can't wait to see it in this. Oh, and real quick, one other thing I forgot to mention, I had it sitting here at my feet the whole time and nearly forgot to show it off, is I got this awesome Something is Killing the Children art box. That's really cool because I love getting the art boxes, right? But most of the ones that I get from, well, most of the ones I have are Marvel, and the tops are just black. But that right there, look at how cool that is. That's the lid. And then, so there it is from the front and the side, and I think the other side is the same. Yeah, but that just looks cool. I love getting these art boxes. I can always use new short boxes, new comic boxes. I love Something is Killing the Children, and I just had to get that one. And that's it, guys. Another big comic book haul. Kind of a bummer this week that I didn't really love a lot of these, but you know, they're not all going to be winners. And maybe you guys liked them, and if so, then that's fantastic. Guys, I appreciate you watching. If you like this video or any of the other videos on my channel, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a sarcastic thumbs up. And if nothing else, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you picked up this week. Did you like the books? Did you get? Were you kind of bummed out by them too? I just didn't love a lot of the storytelling in them. But you know, I know we're gonna bounce back and have another good week next week. I love comic books. I can talk about them with a room full of people or just to a camera. Guys, don't forget, comic books are supposed to be fun. They're just another fun form of storytelling. Awesome stories, awesome art. The vast majority of comic books are fictional. They're made up. In the grand scheme of things, none of it matters, so it's just enjoy whatever you like. There is plenty of stuff out there that everybody can look through all of it, find something they like, and then it's super easy to simply disregard the things that don't interest you and let everybody else enjoy those things. Also, don't forget, it doesn't matter how much you buy each week or each month. What matters is that the things that you buy each week or each month are really special to you, that you buy them, you enjoy them, you get excited to read them, you love talking to people about them, that kind of thing. Whether it's 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, it does not matter how many you buy, just as long as what you do buy is really special to you. So guys, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.